Hello, this is Michael Kies, and today I'll show you how to get buyers to their best price on the property you have led them to put a proposal forward from what we discussed last week. Now, there are some salespeople who have no idea on how to get buyers from their hope price, which is the price you extracted from them by leading them to make a decision on the property that they like. And therefore, what happens is they have a lot of their offers rejected, and if the offers are accepted, they don't have a good, long-lasting relationship with either the seller or the buyer. And they spend their entire career, and it's usually a short career in real estate, scratching for new business. Now tell me, if a buyer got a property for less than their maximum price, do you think they're going to come back to that agent when they want to sell? Of course they won't. And what do you think happens when the seller finds out they were undersold? They're going to be pretty angry, and they're not going to recommend the agent to their family, their friends, their work colleagues, and the word of mouth is terrible. You see, the salesperson who gets this right always gets the very highest price the buyer is prepared to pay. And by doing this, they have a very high percentage of their offers accepted, and they build a great referral business. In my best listing month that I ever had, I listed 27 individual houses, and all of them were from referrals. Now, how is this possible? I'll tell you how it's possible. It's by always getting every last cent from the buyer and showing the seller that you've worked hard to do this. And there's a real art in doing this. So when you have a buyer and you start the buying process by having that buyer putting a proposal forward, and this is how you handle it. Now, it all depends on the market that you're in. If it's a good market, you can flinch. And you can say, look, that's ridiculous. That's just not going to be acceptable. You're going to have to do a lot better than that. But when you're in a normal market or a down market, you've got to be very careful how you handle these buyers. Because I have seen it where you've got a buyer and you turn that buyer away for whatever reason, and you don't find another buyer for 6 to 12 months. So when you have sharp angle close or led the buyer to make a decision and put a proposal forward, and you say, what are you prepared to pay? And they give you a figure, and then you just ask, so if the owner can afford to accept this price, will you buy this house? And if they answer yes, then this is what you do next. Say, I don't know whether the owner can afford to accept this, but let's put it to the owner and see what they say. All right? And so you start the process off, and you start writing up the offer. Now, there's a rule in negotiation. It's called time. When you're writing the proposal up, these people are spending time with you thinking about that property, and they're investing time on that property. Then when you get the form filled out, you do everything but fill out the price. And when you get to the price, you say this. Now, I've been thinking about you in this house, and it really seems to suit you with the large living areas, the beautiful bedrooms, the ensuite, the lovely modern kitchen, the large allotment, all of that. You resell the house to them. So my concern for you is that if you put this low figure forward, the owners are not going to think you're serious, and they'll probably reject your offer. But if you were offered to offer a good fair price, I may be able to get this property secured for you today, which means that nobody else can buy your beautiful home. So come on, why don't you just pay the asking price? Now, it's unlikely that they're going to come up to the asking price. They may, but it's unlikely. So whatever figure they give you now, which is a figure that is higher, and it must be higher than their hope price, you then nibble it. All right? And a nibble is beautiful. All right? So say you've got an offer of 460 on 480. And they say, well, look, we'll go to 470. So what about 478? No, we wouldn't go any more than 473. What about 476? No, 475. Okay, well, look, we'll see whether the owner can afford to take 475. You nibble it up straight away. You do that straight away. It's amazing how much you can get up by a nibble. And then before you leave the buyer, what you do is you say, I don't know what the vendor can or can't afford to accept. And if they can't afford to accept this figure, I'll be back to you with what they can afford to accept. And then what you do is you shut up and you watch for their body language. Now, their body language could be open and expressive, which means they're probably going to pay more, or it could be closed, which means they're getting close to the full price. And so when you go to the owners, you can advise them as to whether you think that these buyers will pay more. And next week, I'm going to show you how to present that proposal to the owners and put the entire sale together. A salesperson who was struggling with the market in Sydney, he was having a terrible time, came to me. I went through some things with him. And within 7 days of the time I spoke to him, he sold 6 properties after having not sold anything for a very long time. And it was just a simple thing. Now, if you want to find out more about how you can improve your sales and income by $100,000 a year, then go to www.michaelkies.com. There is free training on the site which will help you to do exactly that, and that is to produce another $100,000 in a year. Until next time, I wish you every success in real estate. This is Michael Kies.